Alright, this is my 1988 ezgo golf cart. I have 420 Predator swapped. So you do the opposite, you push the choke to start, and you pull to unchoke it. So, this is a golf cart where the engine sits sideways, and it has a regular car style rear end, and I used a 5/8 bore jack shaft, 2 pillow blocks, and it's a very tight fit, so that's why I used, here, let me pull this seat off real quick, make it a little bit easier on me. Hard to do that whenever you're fat. Anyways, so I use some nice little U-joints. I ground 2 flat spots on the pinion, and those are used, the flat spots are where those set screws are, you can see. And I used a 3/4 inch on that end, and I used a 5/8 inch on this end, going into this pillow block, another 5/8, and then another 5/8, of course, and then my 10 or 8 tooth chain or sprocket going to the reverse gearbox to the pillow block, and it's very strong. I've driven it around up and down the block like heck, I really have no clue. Quite a few times. And if you see that leak, it's because this was a 2-stroke, and that's still leaking oil. I need to get rid of that box, or that get rid of that tank. Sorry, excuse me. I'm running off of this tank for now. Runs into there, then down into the fuel, or the carburetor. I got the cold air intake on there. It fits real nice. It's actually not a bad little deal, man. This thing runs pretty good. It runs about 10 to 11 miles an hour with this gear setup, but that's because, that's also because the rear end of this golf cart is 12.5 to 1. So it's not really geared for speed. I think I'm really running into the top end of the rear end there. So it's hard to really get speed out of that. But it starts up and it runs real good. This exhaust is off of Amazon. It is for a 212 mini bike, and I had to cut it at the flange right there. I had to cut it and then reclock it and open these holes up a little bit for it to fit, and it don't leak, so I'm not really stressed out about it. But I had to reclock it downwards so that that pipe would not be all the way up here. It was hitting about right here. Sorry, it was hitting about right here. And it was just at the wrong angle, so I clocked it down. I still got to bend it so it's off the frame. It's not really on it, but it's close, and I want to bend it closer towards the rear end. But I took a piece of angle iron and welded it to the frame, kind of crappily, yes, I know. If you had it dead set in your heart to get this done in a weekend or get this done in a night, you could. There was a lot of test fitting and stuff like that. And I welded square tubing to the frame mount. This whole thing is independent. So if I wanted to pull the engine, all I gotta do is pull 3 bolts, and I can pull this whole thing out. Of course, if the body was off of it, I can't pull it all out with like that. But I also had to notch the frame for the starter. No, I'm not worried about it. I'm not hauling a bunch of weight. I had to notch the frame. I got the wiring ran and extended. Right now I'm running off a jump box because this is just in the testing portion. I literally just finished this, like, I don't know, 2 days ago. I just got it running good last night, and I just literally put that air filter on just now. This is how I have my throttle cable ran. It is going down back under the engine, and it pulls like that. Like that. And it comes up, and I drilled a hole right there in the motor mount. So, you know how these two-strokes are, they usually push instead of pull. Well, now it pulls like it's supposed to. And I get full throttle. It is decently fast. Like I said, it's 10 miles an hour. For your typical on-road golf cart, yeah, you might want to run 20 mile an hour. I really don't care. I'm going to have my girlfriend and my older stepmom drive this, so it does not have to be a speed demon. It is literally just a fun put-around toy. I could probably switch. I do want to switch the rear end so you have more of a traditional golf cart setup, where they sit this way instead of this way. I don't like this jack shaft setup that I have, but it was my only option for now. So that was my best. I don't know, my best. What my fabrication skills could do. I am going to put a street legal kit on it so I could run it up and down the road here in my town. We have golf carts that are allowed to drive up and down the road, so I plan on making that work. But yeah, I mean, if you need to see anything else, I try to show you everything. My mounts might be hard to see for the gearbox. Yeah, it's hard to see. You can't really see it. But I used 4 uprights. Everything is rigid mounted. You cannot adjust any of this. You can maybe adjust the engine, maybe a 1/4 inch or so. The belt number, that's the belt number in case anybody needs it. And it does, it does work great. It locks up fully, and it comes to a stop and unlocks. I had to clean this. This was a brand new CVT, and I had to clean it. Yes, I know that I'm running this the wrong way. I know. But whenever I fabricated this all together, this is how I fabricated it. I didn't realize that you had to have that CVT backwards. One of these had to be backwards from each other, and I did not realize that. So, if I wanted to make it right, I would have to take the reverse gearbox and take it backwards. So if I take it backwards, I get into that pillow block. And it's kind of hard. I have no options here, really, for this setup that I have with this big of an engine. People normally do this with a 212. So, I mean, it is what it is. It runs fine. If I got to replace a belt more often, I'll replace a belt more often. It's not that big of a deal. I've already had it off 10 times trying to adjust everything and make everything work out. Test fit, weld up, fabricate, all this kind of stuff. So, I've had a fun time with it. And it is almost ready to go. I've driven it all around the block quite a few times. It has great low end torque. This thing will pull a wheelie. If you put a little bit of weight on the back, I'm a bigger guy, so it's kind of hard for it to pull a wheelie with me right in front of the axle. But if you put something on the back, like, don't try to make it do a wheelie, but you know what I mean. It will pull a wheelie. It's torquey, definitely very torquey. It's not fast, but it's pretty reliable so far. Nothing's breaking. I thought for sure I was going to have problems with this jack shaft and these U-joints. I know these U-joints are going to be my weak point. So I got a few more of them ordered to test out. Yes, they are tacked. I tacked them together. I didn't need to. I drove it without them tacked. And it didn't hurt anything, but I didn't trust the set screws. So I figured give them an extra fighting chance. And if you need to take them apart, a little bit of a grinder, a little bit of work with a grinder ain't gonna kill me. So it's not that big of a deal, and it's literally driven, I don't know, at least 5 miles now, I would say. and it works great. I jetted the carb up. I think this kit came with a 106 jet and a 107. I went with the bigger one, the 107, and it does drive better. Normally, I took the air box off to make this video work, or not video, to make this engine work in here, because of course it's way too big. And whenever I'd press the gas, sometimes at a dead stop, it would die. It would fall on its face and die. And I haven't had that problem since I had changed the jet and put the air filter on. But yeah, hopefully you guys, get some inspiration from this. I've been working on this for about a week now, but I've been on vacation, and it's been in the 90s, in the hundreds here. It's been super hot, super humid, and I've just been taking my time with it. I've not been in a big rush to try to get everything done. Trying to take my time, make sure everything's welded right. That way, nothing breaks on my family, because I want to make sure everything is nice and secure for them. My engine mount is just an Amazon special Predator 212 or Predator 420 plate, welded straight to the crossbar. This engine mount for the 2-stroke is it goes straight this way and then straight across that way. It is rubber mounted, so this whole thing floats basically on 3 mounts. So I got the engine plate, and then the reverse gearbox is right here, hold up on 4 standoffs. And then you see the mount for that pillow block off of that U-joint. And this thing does do burnouts. So I didn't trust them set screws, but obviously I did pretty good. They're sitting in that flat spot pretty good. I did save, I don't remember what I did with it. There it is. I saved this out of the old joint, or the old clutch, so I can cut that and try to make something out of that work in case that U-joint doesn't work out. Sorry, I got the hiccups. I'm trying to talk with the hiccups. So this is the Predator Hemi. It is very tight in there, but it's not touching anywhere that I know of. I haven't heard any crazy stuff. I've had 2 people ride on it so far. I've had at least 600 pounds on it. I weigh 200, or almost 300. I weigh about 280, and another friend of mine, he weighs about 300. So I've had about 600 pounds on it, and it drives us just fine with that sprocket. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's about time to turn it loose. Fix a few more things on it, get a few more things fixed, and have some fun. And yes, every weld was made with this Harbor Freight Special flex core. I got a good wire in there and good tips, and it welds pretty good. Don't knock my welds. They are not the greatest, no, but they're working so far. They're working great so far. All right, well, hopefully this video helps somebody out. If you need to see anything else, this is all Amazon special shit. The belt, the CVT, that clutch, that is 5/8 40 series bore clutch, so it does fit the shaft. I had to grind a keyway. Kind of can't see it, but I had to grind a keyway into that reverse gearbox shaft because it's not keyed all the way through, and this clutch has its own keyway. So does that CVT. The driven pulley they both have their own keyway cut into them, or cut out of them basically. So they don't use the keyway. It is built in. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. So I had to grind the shaft down. I literally just used a buffer, and then I buffed the shaft down so that this pulley would fit on there, and it fits on there great. And then I have drilled and tapped the end of the shaft because the 40 series driven pulley clutch is too long, or it's too fat, and it goes right out to the end of that shaft. You see the shaft right there. There's no room to get a bolt on there. That is threaded right there. The outer diameter of that thing, right where you see the spacer, there's a thread right on the other side of that, right on the other side of that. So this shaft has like a little hole drilled in that's not threaded. So I just drilled that hole deeper and I threaded it 1/4 20 and just ran a short bolt in there and put some red thread locker on there. So keep it from backing off. That's all I had to do there. That was kind of freaky. That kind of freaked me out. But hell, it's working great so far. Like I said, man, it works great. Push it. Come down here. And start it. And whenever you put it in reverse, it does stop. It goes. And no, the brake isn't on. That was my biggest problem, was I could not get that CVT to disengage far enough with the, and this is 40 series stuff, so it should have disengaged. Well, anyways, I took that clutch apart, CVT clutch, and cleaned it up, and I buffed all the spring stuff, and I greased it. And then, sorry, I still got the hiccups. And then, put it back together, and I could tell right away that everything moved way smoother. It was also sticking. Like whenever I come to a stop, that thing would be halfway out. You know, that bell, it'd be halfway out. And I could tell that it wasn't stopping. Or, you know, it wasn't going back into its home. It was just staying out. So that was another thing I had to fight. But I got that figured out. Got that straightened out, and since then, it's perfect. And I did lower the idle right here. Literally just say that this is where it was at. I did this. That's it. That's all I did. And it lowered the idle literally enough. As I dropped it, you could see that clutch actually suck in. And that also gave me more of a chance with whatever was happening with the clutches and the springs. Not clutches, you know what I mean, sorry. The centrifugal clutches on it. But yeah, so like I said, hopefully this inspires somebody to stuff a Predator 420 or a 459, the bigger engine, whatever, into one of these things. You kind of can't really stuff too much bigger unless you do a lift kit. This isn't lifted either. This is the stock lift. I'm gonna go 4 inches on it, or at least 6. But this is not lifted. It's a spring and a shock. I'd like to lift it. It'd be pretty sick. See what we get done. I'm gonna spend enough money on it so far. I bought the golf cart for $300. I sold the engine out of it for $250 today. Actually, I just sold the engine, and so I got $50 in the actual price of the golf cart. $415 for the engine, $20 for the air filter, $40. 40. I don't know. I can't remember. $40 for the jack shaft kit with the pillow blocks. $20 for each U-joint. I'm just gonna guess. I'm probably in the golf cart for the range of at least $1,200, somewhere around there. Don't do my math with me. I wasn't doing my math, so I don't know. All I know is I got a running golf cart, and it didn't break the bank. I didn't go broke buying a good used one or nothing like that. Because the good used ones around me are like $2,000, $3,000. They're expensive, super expensive, and hard to get your hands on, and mostly not junk, but just mostly they got crap wiring done to them and all types of stuff. This literally ran off of 4 wires right now, 5 actually. And that's just because I need a start right there. This engine don't run with power, you know. Let's see here. Cost breakdown. $300. So minus $250. $50. $415. We'll call that $475. We'll say another. That was 40. We'll just say 50, extra 100, so 575. Together, those are 50, the U-joints. So 575. I don't do math on the fly. So anyways, you get the gist. It's got to be at least less than 700 total. Maybe in parts. I don't know. Sure, we'll call it that. It is. I don't got that much money in it, so have fun. Get out there and get something done in the garage.